and then you have this beautiful checkering on the gun, which is much easier and much smoother on the hands compared to the RTF on this Generation 3 Glock 19, RTF 2 Gen 3, because they haven't made a Gen 4 Glock 19 yet. Anyway, so it's just as sturdy and just as fun to hold, and keeps the gun steady in your hand, and but it's not prickly like the one on the Glock. So, which is, I think, is a good plus. And here's some place to keep your finger. Again, they have the same nice checkering on there. It's very nice. So this is steel on polymer, just like the Glock. Now, it comes with the decocker installed on the gun. However, they also give you a manual safety right here. And the thing is that the good thing about the CZ is that the safety and the catch come with the gun out of the box. So you can just take out, this ambidextrous safety. Oh, I forgot to mention it's ambidextrous decocker, which is pretty cool. So you can, pretty much use it with either the right or the left hand, and you can replace it with this safety right here, which can be engaged both with, which is an ambidextrous safety. So you could carry the gun loaded or cocked and have it on safe, and it's simple as just opening the slide up and taking this off and replacing it with the safety. And I think that's very high value compared to some of the other guns out there. Some people who have an objection with Glock not having a traditional safety would find this feature beneficial. It's a nice, for the value, the gun is very nice. Now, and look at this nice checkering right here as well. Look at that. The gun is made very nice quality. However, there is another gun out there, CZ75D compact. The one I have used that gun previously. Now that gun came with both a safety and a decocker. I don't know why they went away with that concept in this firearm. However, I don't think it's a drawback of this firearm. I think it's just different. When I was carrying this firearm, I would just carry it like this, remembering that the first shot would be single action, a double action shot, and then every shot after that would be single action. Just like the Glock, it comes with the accessory rail at the bottom. They're pretty much similar in size, not that different in size. However, I would say that the CZ is a little bit shorter than the Glock, just a bit. Well, I guess if you include the dovetail in the back, it's a little bit longer. But if you don't take the dovetail into consideration, let's see this, then the CZ is a little bit shorter than the Glock. But if you take into consideration by placing them like this, it's a little bit longer. So the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It all depends on how you see this gun. The glass as half empty or half full. Now, on the internal working of the firearm, I think pretty much there's no gun out there that can beat a Glock when it comes to breaking down the firearm. Let's do another safety check, and then show you how easy this is. And that's pretty much how you break down a Glock. And then you can take off this spring right here, which has a guide rod on it, and out comes the barrel. Putting it back together is just as simple. It's sort of hard to do when you're on the camera and you're standing at a weird angle. Function check. Fine. Now on the CZ it's a little bit different. It's not much harder, but it's definitely not as easy as the Glock. What you have to do is flip the gun around and see this notch right here, where you have to press this in, which pushes out this thing right here, and then you can pry it out and dismantle the gun. What I use is the magazine that comes with the gun. I use this edge right here to press into this thing like so, and as you can see, that pushed out that notch just enough where I can pull it out. Or if it gives me too much problems, I can use I usually use my keys or something, but once that's out, it's pretty much just how you would dismantle a Glock. It just comes out like that. It's the bottom frame, the bottom of the frame, the polymer is very light, obviously. And if you look here, you can see the nice Duracoat job all around. And then it's just like the Glock. You take out the spring, which I was going to warn you about, that it might fly out, and then you take out the magazine, the barrel right here. Let me go get that spring and we'll continue this review. Alright. Okay. Now this spring is not a captive spring and guide rod. What I mean by that, on the Glock, when the spring is inside the guide rod, it's captive. It cannot come out. So that's the difference between the spring on the Glock and the spring on the CZ. Now let me show you one more thing. Some people have been replacing these springs and these guide rods with since this is plastic, with the steel springs, and well, the spring is already steel or whatever that is, but with the steel guide rod. There haven't been many problems reported with it, but I think it's just cooler. People think it's nicer to own a steel rod. And just to let you know that people have been doing the same thing with Glocks as well. And to put it back in, you just put the barrel back in, and it's a little bit harder to put the spring back in on the CZ compared to the Glock, just because it's not a captive spring. And so everything has its advantages and disadvantages. People think the advantage of a non-captive spring is that you can have a longer spring with more tension. I tend to disagree. I think it's just I guess how manufacturers choose to do it. But when I'm putting this in, I know for a fact that this rod is sitting against this on the barrel much tighter as compared to the Glock. Again, like I said, I haven't seen any disadvantages to the way they're doing their springs. Now another difference between excuse me, the Glock and this is that the Glock has guide rods on the lower assembly, where with the steel guide rods, whereas this one slides just into the polymer like this, with guide rods right here at the bottom, which keep the gun in a steady, in a safe, in the slide in a straight. It's just different than from the Glock. I don't know the advantage or disadvantage of either one, but it's just how it is. And then you just push this in and slam it in, do a functionality check. There you go. That's your CZ P-07. Now, on how to use this gun and who this gun is more beneficial towards. If you remember my Glock 19 review, excuse me, I said that I used to carry this gun, and I stopped carrying it because honestly this gun is not meant to be concealed carried. Before the Duracoating job, these edges right here were very sharp. See if you can see these edges. They're very sharp. They're not rounded at all, and they would cut into my hip. Okay, and so with this part right here, and I had some issues with carrying this gun because of that. It's not that much heavier than the Glock, but it definitely is a little bit wider than the Glock, if you can tell. it's definitely wider. See if you can tell right here.